Hello and welcome to Odds on Europa League match day 6, last games of the year in Europe, and we have 3 joint leaders: Lyon, Mydtjylland, Aston Villa, all with 1 defeat, and this is super exciting, this Europa League, with so many surprises, opportunities for you to bet on underdogs. So I have here with me Ronan Murphy, Alain Valnegri, to go around the cold Europe to see where we can make some money. So join us, of course. Tell me your tips, your comments for these games. Don't forget, if you enjoy the video, just do what is told below. And now let's go on with the show. First stop in Zagreb, Dinamo Zagreb, Betis, with the Andalusian team as the favorites. 11 points for them. With a win, they almost secure the top 8, and they are favorites, as I said, for this game. But their form is a bit patchy in La Liga, surprisingly. They are doing better in Europe. This is not the rule with Pellegrini. But you saw this Betis recently, Alain, in the best success of the recent weeks, winning the derby. There they were great, but then a step backwards against Barcelona. Anyway, if we follow the logic, and we saw, for instance, Celta winning 3-0 in Zagreb, we should see also Betis taking all 3 points here.
Yes, at the end now we must to start to make it count. This team now the most important for Betis this season, I think, is going to the Champions League, and with that the team will be have a positive step, or a qualitative step, because the team, the squad is amazing. Is amazing. When do you watch the midfield in Betis? A lot of quality in the wing. Abde and Anthony are really good winger, and yes, it's a team built for the Champions League. And win the Europa League can be a really beautiful thing for Betis, because his neighbor win a lot since the beginning of this century, and that one they suffer a little. Now Dinamo Zagreb, their leader in his league. We saw in Europa League some night where Dinamo Zagreb disappeared. Is only 1 point up to the first 24 team. Is not the best Dinamo Zagreb that we saw, but and in my opinion, Betis don't will lose this game. I choose double chance X2 with over 1.5 goals, odds 1.70.
Well, Ronan, probably the easiest route, perhaps, to qualify for the Champions League is via Europa League, considering how Villarreal are doing, still far away, of course, for winning this competition. But yeah, Betis have more quality. Let's see if they are able to show it on the pitch.
Yeah, I think if you look at the teams that Betis have to play in the Europa League compared to the teams that they play in La Liga, that's definitely the case. It probably is their best chance of getting into the Champions League next season. And like Alain said, I think they've been starved of success, but this team and this squad is kind of built for maybe that success at this level of competition. I think they can go far in the Europa League. They have some very exciting players. I mentioned some of them, and we've obviously seen how well Anthony has gone since he's left Man United there. So this is a team that they should have no problem to beat Zagreb here. I think, especially, they have been inconsistent, like you said, in La Liga, but I think on the road they've been very good this season. They've not lost an away game this season. So Alain's bet that they will not lose this one, I think, is a very good one, because they have been good in away as well. They haven't really conceded a lot away in the Europa League either. And if we looked at Zagreb's kind of home form in the Europa League, you flagged it yourself that 3-0 defeat to Celta Vigo. So the last time they played Spanish opponent, they were no match, and the levels in the league difference, the disparity there was clearly evident, and I think it will be evident again in this match. And before that match against Barcelona, Betis, they'd won 3 matches in a row. They're scoring lots of goals. They were able to score a few times against Barcelona, so I think they should win this one, and so I'm going to go a bit stronger than a double chance. I'm just going to say Betis are going to win, because I like the look of the 2.13 odds that's given for this match.
Well, let's see if Betis are able to win. It's true that they unlocked something in Europe last season when they reached the Conference League, and they are doing much better this season in Europe. Next stop is in Denmark, Mydtjylland Genk, 2 teams doing great things in Europe. Mydtjylland joined leaders, as I mentioned at the beginning, even if they lost to Roma in the last match day. Genk with 10 points, they are very close to the playoffs, to the top 8 after beating Basel and Braga. Here perhaps the odds are too favorable, Ronan, for Mydtjylland. There is some value on backing Genk.
I think there could be, actually. I think Mydtjylland have obviously been very, very good so far this season in the Europa League, but Genk also, similarly, they're not far off. They're only 2 points behind. I know the table says 2nd and 9th, but if Genk were to pick up 3 points here, they would move above Mydtjylland in the table, so and kind of put that step closer to being in the knockout stages. So I think these are 2 very good teams, and I think as a result we could see plenty of goals in this one, because if you look at the Danes' kind of recent home form, they've scored 3 or more goals in each of their last 3 games, and Genk have conceded 3 goals in both of their last 2 games. So this should kind of pave the way for plenty of goals in this one. I'm hoping for plenty of goals. I think this one could be an entertaining match on Thursday evening. If you look at the season stats in all competitions for these 2 teams as well, over 2.5 goals has happened 66% of the time in Mydtjylland's matches, and 62% for Genk in all competitions. So more often than not, these teams have lots of goals in their matches. So over 3 total goals could be a good option at 196. But I'm kind of steering clear of saying either our team are going to win or it's going to be a draw in this one. So I think there will be goals, and I think the home team will score at least 2 of those. So I'm going for Mydtjylland over 1.5 goals at 173.
Okay, both teams to score. David is telling us Genk to score, similar one. Ronan for goals. Alain, do you follow the same thoughts?
Yes, Mydtjylland is really favorite, because Genk, right now the objective of Genk is try to catch a spot in the playoff in the top 6 in Belgium, to play the most interesting part of the season, and they're only 1 point down to the Standard Liège, and yes, we know in Belgium they have a Boxing Day like in England, and I think the team is really focused about that part. Mydtjylland at home is really powerful. The last official game they lose at home was at the end of March against Brøndby. Since that, only victory and only 3 draw, and yes, Mydtjylland are in a very good moment of form. 2 consecutive winning in Cup in Danish against Nordsjælland, and in league with 11 goals scored in two games, with clearly Francolino, one of the next striker will be go to the Premier. The former Benfica are doing really well. Like Ronan, I wait goal for this game, and I don't think Mydtjylland will lose this game. I choose double chance 1x more with over 2.5 goals, odds 2.10.
Okay, both you guys are going for goals, and the AI is the opposite, going for under 2.5 goals. In this one, 2.4. The different thing that the AI is telling us there, you go under 3.5 or under 2.5. Let's go to the next one is Nice Braga. Here, of course, we should look at the away win because Nice are so poor in all competitions in Ligue 1, in Europe. The only team with 0 points in Europa League, 7 consecutive defeats in all competitions. I'm sure I can keep going on with the bad stats for Nice. Alain, let's back Braga with 10 points. Braga in top 8 at the moment.
Yes, Braga is doing well, except the draw in against Rangers in Scotland in the last journey is yes, his team find his rhythm in Liga NOS and in Europa League. In Liga NOS, they're down to the three big team. In Portugal, they don't start really well. But they recover a lot of points. The beginning of the season in Liga NOS was difficult, but now the team is a really good form. Is perform, is a direct football. It's difficult to imagine Nice catch point against this Braga, because Braga is the opposite of Nice. Serious entity, serious team, idea really clear of the model of play, and a team can adapt itself to the rival. Nice right now is difficult to be positive. 7 lose in the 7 last game, and yes, we have a strong institutional crisis, and people are fighting with the player are fighting with the fans. Last week, lose against Angers. It's difficult to trust to Nice. Is I don't take a risk because or with one 𝐿𝐴𝐵 because we know team with that negative row one day they change, and is a risk in my opinion to take Braga. But Braga, I see Braga score. I choose over 1.5 goals Braga in the game. Odds 2.05.
Well, Ronan, even our safe smart bet also going for Braga. In this case, they know they are not informed that the club is a mess, that everything is a mess down there.
Yeah, I am willing to take that risk. Alain might not be, but I am willing to take the risk that the robots are telling us to take. I will go with the robots on this occasion because Nice, they just look so disjointed at the moment. If you watch the matches, there's no clear identity of how they're playing. So aside from the fact that the players are kind of fighting with each other, fighting with the fans, there's problems in the boardroom and all these things on and off the pitch. When you look at them on the pitch, they don't have a clear identity of how to play. It kind of looks really scattered. There's no kind of clear path to goal or scoring goals or winning matches at the moment. And like Alain said, Braga, they do have a particular identity. They are a nice, direct, vertical team. They like to get the ball forward. They like to get goals, and obviously those are easier to come by when you're playing in the Portuguese league. But I don't think Nice would be doing very well if they were playing in the Portuguese league rather than the French league at the moment. They just cannot win matches. They cannot draw matches even at the moment. So you kind of have to think that Braga should be in the driver's seat of this one. That should be very confident going into this match. They haven't lost in any of their last 5 matches, and they have been very good in the Europa League. They've kind of been impressive so far. Maybe going under the radar a little. I think people maybe are sleeping on them as a team that could go far in this competition, because I think they play better maybe than the sum of their parts. They're very well coached, and they do have that particular identity and that clear idea of how they want to play, how they want to win matches. And I think this is one of those matches that they can win, and it's hard to look past, for me anyway, at least. Braga win at 2.35.
Okay, let's go with Braga, or at least do not touch Nice at this moment on time. Utrecht Forest is the next one here. Also Nottingham Forest, the favorite. They are a Premier League team, but also Utrecht have been poor in this Europa League. Only 1 point. They lost to Betis, and the surprise was that point came against Porto, one of the favorites in this competition. Forest, is true that they are putting their effort in the Premier League. They've improved under Sondage, although they lost recently to Brighton and Everton. But also, Ronan, we have to take the calculator. Indeed, with 8 points, they really need these 3 points to qualify in the top 8. And we know how tough is the Premier League schedule. Is not bad also to skip one tie in this case. So they also need the 3 points, and for Utrecht, I think is over this European dream.
Yeah, I think Utrecht at the moment they're kind of only playing kind of for a bit of kind of a consolation at this stage. I think their European dream is over, but I don't think they will have totally written it off. I don't think they'll just roll over and allow Nottingham Forest. Here's 3 points for you guys, and because this is a home match, I think if it was an away match, I'd be extremely confident in Nottingham Forest. I wouldn't have any doubts that they were definitely going to win this match. But when Utrecht are at home and Nottingham Forest are the visiting team, I think this could be a little more open than perhaps 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻 himself would like in matches. Because if you look at since he's kind of taken over Nottingham Forest in their last 5 games, they're both teams to score no. So he's either going to win 2-0 or lose 2-0 from the looks of 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻 at the moment. But Utrecht, on the other hand, they're both teams to score yes in all their last 6 games. So they are playing kind of end-to-end and open matches at the moment, and you kind of have to look at which one of those is going to happen in this, because it can't be both, obviously. So if Utrecht so far this season, 62% of their matches have been both teams to score yes. 62% of their matches at home have been both teams to score yes. So I think they will be looking kind of to at least land a blow against Nottingham Forest and show that they can compete at this level. But I think the Europa League is kind of gone for them, but they won't kind of give up without a little bit of a fight. And I think for that reason, both teams to score yes does look like a good option in this one at 184.
Okay, both teams to score. One of these scorers could be 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐵𝐻, a player that I really like. Alain, perhaps he is only playing in the Premier League, but I think was a good signing for Nottingham Forest.
Yes, Nottingham Forest improved a little, but in the last 3 games in Premier League, only won a victory against Wolves, and that one is a bad news. And Nottingham must to put the focus to the Premier League right now, because he's in a dangerous situation, or delicate situation. Only 2 points up respect to the relegation line. It's a beautiful game. I saw Utrecht play in the field in Sevilla, and I like the mentality. It's a 4-3-3. A team want to attack, want to have the possession of the ball. In the second half, they deserve something more, because they're great, and what Betis was strong in his defensive line, and limited a little Utrecht. But yes, I like the team, especially the midfield. The midfield are really productive. Now I don't choose one 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻. I will be choose a shoot on the target for a player like 𝗲𝗿𝗍𝐿, the offensive midfielder from 21st national team in Holland. Big talent and big initiative. Is a player can score, can assist, and in my opinion, he will be take risk, because when they play against a Premier League team, normally that type of player are so motivated. I choose 𝗍𝗍𝐿 one or more shoot in the target, odds 2.14.
Okay, we have a guy, Jimmy. Hello from North Carolina. Hello, Jimmy. Should be very early in North Carolina. Thanks for watching us and follow this Europa League. Smart bet for this game is an under. They don't see many goals and double chance for Utrecht. Actually, they are choosing the surprise. Next one is young boys Lille with 9 points, doing pretty well in France in general, fighting for the top 4, and in the Europa League, for instance, beat Roma as one of the big results. So young boys, Alain, of course, you know well the Swiss league. They are not doing well this season. They are 4th. Only 2 wins in this Europa League against weak teams like Ludogorets or Steaua. So also it's reasonable to think that Lille should take the 3 points again. They also need the 3 points to finish in top 8.
Yes, it's a difficult season for Young Boys. They fired his manager, 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲, former Mönchengladbach back to Young Boys. I won the title with the team of the capital of Switzerland. We saw an improvement when he arrived, including in Villa Park. They played not a bad game because Villa is one of the best team in Europe, not only in Premier League right now. And they'll be competitive. And after a crazy draw in Geneva against Servette, and but against Sion losing is yes, we saw a team empty without heart, without passion, and for the physical, direct football Seoane want, you need more passion. You need more. The player must to be more most involved. And against Lille for Switzerland team when they played against a team from the top five in Europe is always big source of motivation because you want to win a contract, no? And Lille right now is in a good moment. It's difficult to predict Lille because is a team with a lot of wave. We saw bad wave, we saw good wave. Right now, the team are perform four consecutive winning. They score a lot of goals in Europe against Dinamo Zagreb, in France with Paris FC, able to win difficult game when you must to manage a 1-0 against Olympique de Marseille, against Le Havre away is not so easy. Now that type of row normally uh, can be have a stop. Playing in Bern is difficult because the field is synthetical, and a lot of teams suffer when they play in Bern. I don't choose 1x2. I go another time for shoot in the target in Bern in Young Boys. Alan Virginius is played in Lille a few years ago and he was not so good. He don't have a good memory. Big motivation for the winger who is doing well in Switzerland League. One or more shoot on the target for Virginius, odds 2.40.
Okay, Ronan, what is your take here?
Yeah, I think looking at Lille recently, Alain's right. They've won matches 4 games in a row, and 3 of those were wins to nil. But sometimes they had to work hard for those victories, and the last 2 games have just been 1-0 wins. And I think because of the pitch that they're playing on, the level of opponent, and the kind of determination of the opponent, I think this could be a narrow game, a quite tight game. I think both teams will be perhaps afraid to make a mistake early on. So I think because of that, and because of Lille back-to-back 1-0 wins, perhaps it could be another 1-0 win here for Lille. So correct score 0-1. I'd like to look at 9.50 here because usually when French teams go to Switzerland, they usually pick up to 3 points. But if you look at when Lille scored their goals, it tends to be late on because they've scored most of the goals, 30% of their goals, in the last 15 minutes of matches. And I think we could be looking at one of these tense matches between two teams where the better team is kind of struggling to maybe break down the weaker team at times, and maybe it's going to come late, that winning goal or the crucial goal that they need. So for that reason, I think it could be a tight affair, it could be a tense affair, it could take a while for things to heat up, and as a result, I think Lille will leave it late to win this one. I think they might win it, but I think they'll definitely win the second half. So I'm going for Lille to win the second half at 2.07.
Well, it could be a similar game. The next one, we stay in Switzerland. It's a good place to be now before Christmas and visiting the Christmas markets and so on. So we go to Basel and we have a big favorite, Aston Villa, the favorite to win the competition, now joining leaders, 12 points, really in form. Of course, everyone knows they beat Arsenal in the top four of the Premier League in really good form. Overall, after a tough start of the season, the market was not like Unai Emery wanted, but now everyone is praising Unai Emery, everyone is praising this Aston Villa. Ronan, they not only get the results, they play good football also, especially really, really intense, of course.
Yeah, that's what we've come to expect from the Emery teams. We've seen it obviously a lot in this particular competition in the past. This is his competition, and it's no wonder they're favourites, and especially no wonder with the way they're playing at the moment. And Elaine said earlier that they're one of the best teams in Europe at the moment, and yeah, it's hard to disprove that, especially at the positive result and the performance they put in at the weekend. Nobody kind of puts in these sort of performances against Arsenal, but Aston Villa were able to, and they kind of were well deserving of the 3 points, and I think they're rightly the favourites for this competition because they do look like the best team in the tournament. They are in excellent form at the moment. They already have beaten a Swiss team in this competition, so yeah, Aston Villa as an option for a very high safe bet could be one for here if you want a risky safe bet for this one. Their last Europa League game, they won 2-1 against Young Boys. Young Boys made them work hard, but if you look at the table, these are 2 teams that are very close in the Swiss league table, so it's a similar sort of level of opposition at the moment. They're 3rd and 4th. FC Thun are actually winning the Swiss league, surprisingly, at the moment. So, yeah, Aston Villa, they are 2nd in the Premier League. They are one of the best teams in England. The 7 wins in a row. They are going through. This is probably the best period of Unai Emery's Aston Villa, and maybe you look at the squad and you think the players mightn't be as good as players he's had in the past, but the way he's coaching at the moment and the way that he's getting involvement from kind of all of his attacking players. Ollie Watkins is now back to his best. Daniel Mallon, Morgan Rogers, these players are all chipping in with crucial goals in key games. I think Aston Villa win has to be looked at 180. You can't really look past that. But if you look at Aston Villa's wins recently, they've all been both teams to score yes wins recently, or most of them have. 4 of the last 5 Aston Villa wins have been both teams to score yes. So Aston Villa win and both teams to score yes is 320. So I like the added option of that one, especially because it was 2-1 the last time they played the Swiss team. So maybe 2-1 again.
David is going for something similar, actually, Aston Villa and the over 1.5 goals. Then we go to Spain, to the north, Celta de Vigo, Bologna. This is a very good game. 2 teams that can get far in this competition. Celta coming from a great win.
You've skipped Alain. Alain never talked about Aston Villa.
You didn't, Alain. Sorry. Sorry, in your Switzerland, and I skip yourself.
They are more fun than Aston Villa playing like than the Switzerland team. But yes, but Basel is not quiet. The ambient in Basel right now. A lot of voice want Magnan, the manager, out of the team. And yes, the team in the last week, yes, they won, but they won with the bottom in Switzerland, and they won against a team in Cup playing in 3rd division. And in Genk, in my opinion, they deserve to catch something more. But yes, we don't see the best version of Basel in change. Aston Villa is not running; is flying right now. Is one of the most informed team in Europe. I think Basel suffer the way of play of Aston Villa from the winger. The team is not. They don't have really good defender to the wing, and that one is a big limit. Have Basel since the beginning of the season. And in my opinion, Aston Villa will make the difference from there in the creation. And after Aston Villa have people to score, I choose Aston Villa winning like Ronan odds 1.80.
How to skip your analysis, Alain, about this Aston Villa to win, but I'm also looking forward to listening to the Celta Bologna, indeed, your comment, because this is a big game, and the bookies place Celta as favorites after beating Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Not many teams can do this. They have a great manager, a good squad with a lot of youngsters, already been in the Europa League. It's a great success after so many years fighting against relegation. So kudos to 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻. and they are okay in this Europa League, 9 points. They screw it up a little bit against 𝗀𝗏𝗿𝗀, a place where people, bettors and supporters expected them to win, but I would say warning with these odds, because also Bologna is a very, very good team. They only lost to Aston Villa in Europe, and in Serie A they are very close to the Champions League spots.
Yeah, they're similar projects. Maybe Bologna is a little more international and play and working more with the data, like Celta. Celta form more player with the academy, but the model of player are really similar. Is offensive football, is to be dominant from the possession of the ball. Now the form, Celta suffer in against a team playing in 5th division in Spain, like San Andreu, but after they won in Bernabeu. Now, before that, we saw a difficult results against Espanyol and in 𝗀𝗏𝗿𝗀. Celta, when they played at home, 80% of the game finished to both teams to score. They concede a lot. They concede space. Bologna is a team feel really comfortable when he can run, especially the wing Orsolini, Cambiaghi, Rowe. Italiano have a lot of solution to play with that way. In the last week, probably is one of the most difficult week for Bologna, because draw in Lazio, losing against Cremonese, and difficult win in Italian Cup against Parma. We can ask about the deepness of the squad, and maybe at December you start to feel a little tired. But in spite of that, for me, is a both team to score game. Sorry, I choose this odds 1.80.
All right, Ronan.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the way these teams play, like Alain said, they're both kind of aggressive attacking teams that they kind of play in open-ended games and kind of give a lot of entertainment for the fans. And if this was odds on NFL, I would say that maybe you'd back the turnover market here, because I think this is one where the teams will press high, they'll get the balls off the opposition, they'll cause mistakes for the opponents, and that should lead to an entertaining match with lots of goals in it. If you look at all of Celta's games in the Europa League so far, they've all had 3 or more total goals. So this is a team that, no matter whether they're playing away from home or at home, like Alain said, they still kind of can suffer at times, and they still kind of can give away cheap goals, and that should allow Bologna into the match. 4 of Celta's 5 matches so far have been both teams to score. Yes, if you look at Bologna's last game in the Europa League, that was a 4-1 win over Red Bull Salzburg. But despite that 4-0 or 4-1 scoreline, it looked at times that they could allow another goal in, or they could kind of slip up at times. And maybe, like Alain said, we're getting into kind of near Christmas, near into winter, those kind of mistakes kind of slip in, especially when you're playing Thursday evening and then you're playing again at the weekend. I think all these games kind of mount up, and then it does allow for defensive mistakes or midfielders to make a mistake, and that can often lead to more goals. And that's what we're hoping for, because these are 2 teams that they both have a good chance to make the playoffs. So they will be both looking for the maximum 3 points in this match. Both teams to score, yes, like Alain said, 180. That looks really good. But another option, kind of along the same lines, is total goals over 2.5, which is 204.
Well, even I think they could be easily in the quarterfinals or in the far stages in this competition. David is going for 𝑋2 for this one. Also, Smart Bet is going for Bologna to win, or 𝑋2, back in Bologna, the Italian team, with really good odds. And the last game we are going to analyze is Celtic Roma. Great game. This one with Roma as favorite, 9 points, but perhaps it's the worst moment of the season. The defeat against Cagliari was very ugly, no chances, no attacks, and this is back-to-back defeats without scoring. It happened the same against Napoli, is the problem of the whole season for Gasperini's men. They have a problem because your Ferguson, Ronan, is not working in Roma. And Celtic 7 points in this Europa League. It was a massive surprise seeing them beating Feyenoord in the previous match day.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise, and it surprised me because anyone who watches regularly knows that I'm very hard on Celtic and very hard on Rangers on the show. But yeah, I'm also very hard on Evan Ferguson and Roma at the moment, because if you look at whoever plays up front for Roma, they're just not doing the business. It's not that Evan Ferguson himself is terrible, although he's not looking great. I'm going to be honest there, but no matter who's in the squad, they're just not creating enough chances. They get the ball into the midfield, and then they kind of look like they don't know what to do with it, which is not what we've come to expect from Gasperini teams in the past. And they allow themselves to be exposed too often, and yeah, this Roma team, they kind of lack that clear identity that you've seen from Gasperini teams in the past, which you thought he was going to bring, and you thought that he would bring lots of goals, and we saw it in pre-season. They looked really sharp in pre-season. And although they're kind of knocking on the doors at the top of Serie A, they're not doing it with any sort of conviction. They're not really showing like a team that can go the full distance. It's nice for them to be here now, but you don't think they're going to challenge for the title come the end of the season. It doesn't look like it at the moment, because despite the fact that none of the forwards are scoring, the balls aren't getting to the forwards to give them chances to score either. So I think this might be a kind of a dirty, kind of difficult game for both sides, because Celtic obviously have a new coach. He didn't have the best start to life in the Scottish Premiership, so that we'll have to see how he adjusts there. And I think some Celtic fans are already unimpressed with how he started, because maybe Martin O'Neill came in and he was brilliant as the caretaker manager, and kind of looking, well, Martin was doing a great job, and they're kind of praising how well he's doing, and maybe we should have stayed with him for longer, is kind of what's happening. So the jury is already out for the new coach at Celtic, and we'll see how that goes. And I think this is going to be a nervous affair. Roma cannot create chances, so the match could be bogged down in the midfield, which wouldn't really be a surprise for games in Celtic Park, because Celtic are usually so good at home. They make things difficult for the opponents. Celtic, they are a team that defend quite well. There's only been over 2.5 goals in 32% of Roma's games this season. So a correct score 0-1 kind of appeals to me for some reason. Someone else other than Evan Ferguson to score that winner at 850, maybe 𝗵𝗵𝗏 or someone. But total goals under 2.5 this match screams to me. I hope I'm wrong and it's 6-5, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Is actually these odds also caught my attention. Are really good. It pays the same over and under, and seeing the stats for Roma, Alain is clear, I would say, going for the under.
Yes, but Roma feel comfortable in Glasgow. They played against Rangers this season with a clear win. One of the best game of Roma this season. I don't understand the debate about Ferguson. Ferguson don't score more than 6 goals in a season in Brighton. It's, in my opinion, a casting mistake or interpretation mistake about the people. Not Ferguson don't came to Rome to score 20 goals. 𝗏𝗵𝗿𝗀 came to Rome to score that quantity of goals. But 𝗏𝗵𝗿𝗀, I think, is a problem. But Ferguson is, for me, is not a killer striker. He's a really intelligent player. Can play better the team, and help a lot the second life to score, the attacking midfielder, the winger. And Gasperini is not a Gasperini team, sincerely. Since the beginning of the season, in the offensive production, we don't saw the version of Atalanta. Ronan choose the 1-0. Why? Because it's the most frequently scored. Roma won when they played away. Now Celtic, I have some doubt about Celtic. We saw against Heart, they lose. That maybe they deserve something more because they create more respect to Heart. But yes, I think Celtic have deficit of. It's not a confident team, and since the beginning of the season, we saw the team go out in the playoff for the champions against 𝐻𝐸 Almaty is probably the worst team in Champions League, with problem with the goal. And against Rome, that one is a big limit. In my opinion, Rome must do have a reaction. I don't see Rome stay 3 games without score. Roma is more favorite than the value of the odds. For that reason, I choose Roma winning, odds 2.29.
Okay, also James is going for Roma to win. Let me check for the very last time now the smart bet. Going in the opposite way, actually. They think it's going to be a 1-0 for Celtic. They see under 1.5 goals. There you go, 3.9. And then double chance or Celtic to win. So going for an under for, I think it's more likely also to see Roma to win and an under game here. Well, this is it, the best 8 games on Thursday in the Europa League, last match day of 2025 in Europa League as well. Remember that we have opened our tipster competitions. You can register for free in Oddspedia and win some cash money. There you go, the December one. And check out Rivals. You can create your own tipster competition, and also there is some money there for you. All right, let's go with your safe bet, Ronan.
My safe bet is Porto to win at 122.
Porto playing against Malmo. And Alain, your safe bet?
Stuttgart Maccabi, Stuttgart winning, odds 1.25.
Maccabi are just terrible indeed. And Ronan, your ACCA?
My ACCA is Aston Villa to win and Roma to win for a total of 406.
Okay, 2 away wins of the favorites to win this competition. Alain?
Freiburg, Salzburg, Freiburg winning. Ludogorets, PAOK, both team to score. Mydtjylland, Genk, double chance 1x with over 2.5 goals, and Celta, Bologna, both team to score, odds 9.39.
So now we have to check Ludogorets PAOK and see if your ACCA is correct. Alain, thanks for this. Thanks everyone for watching. See you very soon. Enjoy Europa League. Bye-bye.